This conference will now be recorded.
Sailing to 380 destinations, the world awaits with Princess Cruises. Plain Sailing is the flight booking tool that we use at Princess Cruises. We will automatically suggest a recommended flight, a lowest price option, and the shortest flight. Now with Plain Sailing, you can see cruise and air package pricing. This will include taxes, fees, and port charges, as well as any optional packages, giving you one complete holiday price. Now with Plain Sailing, you can book your cruise and flights in simply one click. Let's take a look at Plain Sailing in action. First, you will access onesourcecruises.com. Onesourcecruises.com is a dedicated travel agent website loaded with everything you need to know about Princess Cruises. We can check live availability through Polar Online. Selecting our airport code, we will also select Yes to Air. Here we can put in the details of the cruise of choice. We now have a selection of staterooms. Selecting the balcony, we will save and continue, taking us through to the pricing detail screen. You will see on the pricing detail that in the air row here, nothing will appear, meaning at the present we have no flights included. If the flights were outside of date range at this stage, you will see that Princess Cruises will have packaged an airfare here. As the cruise that we're looking at have flights that are within date range, we can now select Plain Sailing. This will lead us to live availability with a wide selection of airline partners. Here we have our 3 suggested flights. Firstly, our recommended flight. Next, the lowest price. And then the shortest flight. Looking at the recommended flight, you can see that we have 2 types of fare. One that is the flexible, and the other which is the restricted. To see a complete cruise and air price, just select here. For more details on the flights, you can show details. For more information on the fare restrictions, you can see information on the flexible fares and information on the restricted fares. You can also see more information on baggage fees. By selecting baggage fees, this will direct you straight to the airline's website, giving you the most up-to-date information relevant to that specific airline. For more information on flights or more options, we can scroll down. On the left-hand side, you can see a filter. This will help us narrow our search. In the centre here, you can see that it's brought up some outbound options. By selecting the outbound option, it would then bring up the return options too. You can still see at this stage that we have the round trip price. If we were to scroll back up, we can also start a new search here. This would allow us to deviate our flight options. You can see here if you wanted to change the outbound route or the return route. If you want to add a flight departure stop or a return flight stop, you can do so here, allowing you to add a city break en route. To deviate the dates, to fly out earlier or depart later than the cruise, you can change the information here. For now, we'll leave the search to match the cruise of choice. By selecting the restricted fare to begin with, it will then bring up a flight disclaimer. The flight disclaimer is informing us that when you book a restricted fare, you must make payment directly into Polar Online for the flight section using the customer's credit or debit card. This must be made within 45 minutes of confirming the booking, and the payment must be made directly through Polar Online. You have to select here to acknowledge that you have read and understood the flight disclaimer before continuing. Let's take a look at the flexible fare. The flexible fare again will bring up your flight disclaimers. We have to acknowledge that we have read and understood before continuing. By continuing, we have now saved the chosen flights into Polar. And by saving and continuing here, you will see that the airfare has now been added into the total fare. If you wanted to take another look at the flights, you can view the flights that you've selected just here. Let's save and continue and make our booking. We will now pop in the passenger information, ensuring that it matches the passport. And by selecting Book Now, this will now confirm our flights and our cruise with simply one click. We now have our confirmed booking reference at the top here, meaning that our flights and our cruise are now confirmed. To re-look at your air details, you can select just here. To change any flight information, you can relaunch plain sailing here. Here, you can see hiding behind these icons, we now have credit card payment information. By selecting credit card payment, this will allow us to be able to enter our customer information. We would then take our customer payment using the debit or the credit card directly through Polar Online and submit the payment. This would confirm our restricted fare. Thank you for attending the Plain Sailing webinar. We do hope you found this useful and that you understand booking plain sailing and with Princess Cruises is now easier than ever.